I was a reporter a long time for Cologne in our regional edition of Bild, and we had a change in the staff, and then I was appointed in 2008 as new Leverkusen correspondent, and so now it's 16 years, and the first with trophies in this year.
Could you just give us an idea about the kind of place that Leverkusen holds in German football hearts? Because you've got massive teams there, obviously your Bayerns and your Borussia Dortmunds, potentially even before the title-winning season. Where did Leverkusen sit within that?
Yeah, they've always been like competitors, but not even called as. They were always the runners-up. So the story of Leverkusen is quite common, and so Leverkusen was always good for being second to fifth or sixth place. Europe was always the main topic for this club, and but when Fernando Caro was appointed in 2018 as new CEO of the club, he directly said, "I want to be champion. I want to become champion with this club," and so he transformed this club totally.
You mentioned the Leverkusen tag there. When did that come about? How did it develop? And how is it sustained?
Yeah, it was in 2000 and 2002 when they were so close to become a German champion, and even in 2002 when they were become vice champion again, and they lost the German Cup final, they lost the Champions League Cup final. They were called like the silver mine of German football. And Leverkusen, because they never won a title. Of course, they have won a title, two titles, I would say, in 1988. They won the European UEFA Cup, and then in 1993, the German Cup. But then, as I said, it was 31 years of hurt. Nothing came to the trophy cabinet, and this year they were coming three trophies: the German Championship, the Meisterschale, the German Cup again, and even the Super Cup.
And I guess just before we move on to the title-winning season, for Leverkusen as a city, you've got Cologne and you've got Dusseldorf really close as well. And what kind of place does football hold in the hearts of just your local Leverkusen fan or local Leverkusen resident?
Yeah, Leverkusen is a city with 160,000 inhabitants, very connected to the Bayer company, the pharma company. They called the Werkself, the factory team, and of course, the Bayer, the company, is also the club here. So there is a really close relationship between the factory and the football team, and this year this culminated, and the whole city went crazy. And weeks before the game against Werder Bremen, when they became champion, the city was dressed in black and red, and even the street behind the stadium, which is the big Bismarckstraße, was renamed in Xabi Alonso Allee. And this is quite interesting. And so you can see there was a great hunger of being German champion for the first time, because, as I mentioned, they were so close so many times, and this year they've done it.
That day when Leverkusen secured the title against Werder Bremen, can you just take us to the city? Take us inside. What were the celebrations like? What was it like to be there and as Leverkusen won that famous title?
Yeah, it was the 14th of April, a really warm Sunday afternoon. And as I mentioned, the Bismarckstraße, the Xabi Alonso Alley, this is the street, the road where the bus is coming to the stadium every game. And here in Leverkusen, the fans in the last years made some bus receptions with fireworks and pyrotechnic, and even when the team was struggling a relegation battle 2 years ago when Xabi Alonso came, which is quite astonishing as well. When he took over, Leverkusen was in 17th position, which is unbelievable to say. But this bus reception on this day, it was unbelievable. About 10,000 people on the streets or even more, and fireworks were flying, and the bus was not even able to pass. And it was something like a carnival in summer. Here in the Rhineland, we have the big carnival in February or March, but this was football carnival, and you could feel there was something special on this day. It should have happened on this day. On the day before, if Bayern Munich would have lost against Cologne, if would Stuttgart have would lost against Frankfurt, they would have become German champions on the sofa. And nobody wanted this. Everybody wanted to have it in their own stadium, on their own victory. And so, yeah, it, it was this day, and 14th of April was the beginning of a new era in German football.
And Pippo, what was it like for you personally? Because you've said yourself, you're a Leverkusen expert. You've followed the team for the best part of 2 decades. What was it like for you to see the fruition of that for a club that you followed so closely?
Yeah, of course, it was an experience I've never witnessed, because when you are a reporter of Bayern Munich, you're used to write about titles and the German championship. So no one of us yeah, could imagine what happened on this day, and it was something really new and unique, because you never witnessed this, as I said, and yeah, it was something like that. You said, yeah, you followed the team all the way, and they really deserved it, and so it was on something. Yeah, which was quite unforgettable. As I said, it was an experience I will never forget. And there were 53 matches in this season, 23-24, and I attended for Bild 46 of them. So it was quite a long journey, and at the end, yeah, it was unbelievable. As I said, now I'm overwhelmed to when I look back at the pictures and to see the fans running to the pitch. Of course, there were some worries that the game was suspended because the fans were a bit too early on the pitch. But yeah, the referee did it really well, and after the 5-0 of Florian Wirtz, everybody was running to the pitch, and yeah, it was quite amazing. Of course, it was spontaneous celebration because the team celebrated on the balcony of the VIP lounge of Granit Xhaka in the south part of the stadium, and Xabi Alonso took the microphone and he was singing Leverkusen Allee, and we want more. We want also the DFB Pokal. We want the Europa League, and yeah, it was quite an unforgettable night for everyone here, even for those who are following and covering this team.
You mentioned the Europa League there. Obviously, it wasn't quite the unbeaten season and a clean sweep, but when you look at the season, you've mentioned that you went to most of the matches, both home and away. What was it about Leverkusen last season that took them to the title?
It was the spirit in this team, the hunger, and yeah, the spirit, the mentality, winning mentality of Xabi Alonso. He had won everything as a player, 18 titles as a player, unbelievable. And what he said, everybody believes in the dressing room. And he said at the beginning of the season, it was quite clear they would have a very, very strong team. But he said in August and September, there are no medals. The medals will be presented in May. And he first started to speak about the championship in the beginning of April, when it was quite clear that it will become very, very shortly to a climax. And of course, Bayern Munich was struggling. And yeah, everybody thought it would be maybe in Dortmund on the 20th of April. But as Bayern Munich was struggling, so everybody knew it should have been this day. And as I mentioned, Werder Bremen. But of course, the Europa League had also some special moments. There was a game against Karabakh Akdam when it was a 2-2 in Azerbaijan, and then they were down here in 0-2, 20 minutes to go, and but then they were able to win the game 3-2, and it was also the beginning of Leverkusen, because they were able to score late goals in the 97th minute, 98th minute. So this is also a part of the story of this unbeaten Bundesliga championship. And yeah, of course, then in Dublin, Atalanta was very good in this day. And even if Leverkusen would have had one more week yeah, to come down after winning the championship, receiving the trophy Saturday, celebrating, and going to Dublin on Tuesday with the German Cup final also in the hat. And maybe it was a bit too much. So maybe they needed 1 more or 2 more days for preparation because Atalanta didn't have this stress with the Europa League, with the cup and the championship. So this was their advantage, and they were amazing in the night of Dublin.
Yeah. And you mentioned as well a little bit, Pippo, how Xabi Alonso built a really nice spirit within his team as well. I just wondered if you could talk about the connection between Xabi Alonso and the Leverkusen fans, because I guess particularly after Alonso was talked about as potentially the next Liverpool manager, the new Bayern manager, lots of other big teams around Europe as well. I guess there must be a really nice connection between the coach and the fans.
Yeah, this is what he mentioned when he announced that he would stay here in Leverkusen. He said it's also because of the fans, because of this relationship. And he said, we are so close together, and my job is not done yet. And he wanted to give the fans something back. He will ever be the best manager of the club history. When he leaves, maybe he leaves in 2025 to Real Madrid, nobody knows. But he will be always be Xabi the first, King Xabi. And yeah, this is something he deserved because he became the man who did it. So many coaches tried it before. And of course, Xabi Alonso is, as I mentioned, calling the Bismarckstraße one of the most important streets in Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso LA is something like being called Sir Alonso. It's something that was a gift by the fans, and he was very proud of it.
Couple more, Pippo, and then I'll let you get on with your day. I promise. You spend a lot of time around the Leverkusen camp. You've done it today. What are the vibes like this season? Is there still that positive energy from last year going into 2024-25?
Yeah, it was clear that it could not go again like this with being undefeated. But yeah, looking at this, they are still nearly undefeated also in this year. Of course, they had so many draws, and like the minor teams like Bochum, like Holstein Kiel, and so these are maybe points they will, yeah, they will at the end decide the German championship to Bayern Munich because they are lacking these points. And of course, this is what Xabi Alonso said from the first training session he had with the guys in summer. The past was nice, but the past is gone. So we have to start again from zero. And he felt the mentality maybe was lacking a bit after this magical achievement, winning the first ever domestic double. Of course, this was something a lot of his players didn't know how does it feel. So they achieved maybe the biggest thing that you can achieve in German football, and of course, it is very very hard to fight back after such a success to be successful again. And yeah, this was the reason why they were lacking some points, but the atmosphere here still is that the fans say what was happening last year, nobody will take away us from us again, and they are so grateful that they experienced this double winning season. And of course, Xabi is a legend, and the players who done it in last year, they are also a legend for Leverkusen for the next decades.
Yeah, and just a final one, Pippo. Talking about this sporting planet, I think if we could zoom out a little bit, have you noticed a more international appeal of Leverkusen in the last year, and journalists getting interested in what the club are doing, and potentially people like me asking you to have a chat about it? And if you have noticed that, what's that been like for you and for the club?
Yeah, personally, I can say that a lot of journalists from all over the world ask me what has happened in Leverkusen, which has never been before like this. And of course, the club made two trophy tours. They went to the US, they went to Brazil, taking the trophies with them, and because they have a good, a great Brazilian community because of the tradition with 24 players from Brazil coming to Leverkusen. And even in the United States, in New York, German football is admired. And I think maybe Leverkusen is more admired abroad than in Germany, because Leverkusen is still in Germany by a lot of fans called a plastic club, a factory club, and this is something in abroad. It's a normal club, because Leverkusen had a great story about with great players like Ballack, Lucio, Rudi Völler all over the years. As I said, maybe in outside Germany, this achievement is more admired than in Germany itself.
Fantastic. Pippo, thank you so much for joining us on this Sporting Planet.
It was a pleasure for me. Thank you very much.